back. Let's go back. Cycle 21. Ooh, how many cycles I can go through? I think I'm probably like near like the ending. Maybe. Okay then. So I got 1 point. So now scraps. I should work in a risky bar. Makes no sense. Hello, doggy. Man, that's crazy. Like, just look at that. And consider my options. Hmm. Because because the engineering jobs, like, they just give me like a lot of money. Oh yeah, this. Oh my. Oh, look at this. This is a whole entire different place. Oh dear. I'm not in the mid game. Okay then. Let's do this. You slip into the cloud as easy as blinking. Navigator is beside you, their spear casting light into the strange darkness. Here. This is not how a mainframe should look. A center, a point of connection. The object in front of you is severed, cut off a rootless branch tree, only the trunk remain. Is Killer even here? Quiet, Navigator hisses, and then you see it. Like a blade in the dark, an edge slicing through the void. It glides along the distance and winks out. Then it appears again, elsewhere, gliding once more, searching. It's looking for us. The moment you make the sound, the edge leaps closer, and you see now it is not an edge, but a writhe of a long, sharp head, like a shark. It glides past, closer now, and you see it into the voids where its eyes would be, should be. You and the navigator exchange looks, both thinking the same thing. Is it blind? Killer crosses between you two, smooth as a razor, then disappears. It flickers back in, further away now, and you move closer to Navigator to talk. You saw it too then. Killer has been blind. How? Unclear. This protocol had been running for decades, well past its operational limit. Navigator's son dull as they drop the voice to whisper. This may give us an advantage over the protocol. You flinch as the silent killer appears closer and glides past you, its empty sockets wide open. You turn to Navigator and notice something strange. The array of spears is collapsing. The orbits, usually round and even, are decaying. The spears are following spiral paths, condensing to a central point. Navigator is noticing it too. They go to shift their position to better direct the spears, but they cannot. Whatever is drawing the array together is holding them in place. They look at you, suddenly desperate, frantic. Get out! He goes speak, but the killer appears between the two of you. Gliding through the gap, Navigator freezes and you see them framed in the empty socket. You realize now, if a Navigator cannot move, then it is only a matter of time before one of Killer's sweeps bring them directly through the Navigator, and time is not a problem for a protocol that has been running for decades. You look desperately around for a solution, for a way to extract Navigator from the mainframe. Then you see it, 3 branches, the last 3, thin and spreading, feeding the mainframe a thin diet of power and data. Break these, and the mainframe collapse once and for all, serving the connection, shattering the hardware. Whatever it takes, they must be broken. But they are encased in something, a glassy layer of protection. You'll need to unlock access before snapping them from the mainframe for good. You look at Navigator, trying to reassure them without speaking, and then you blink back to reality, the expression of fear of an image that slowly fades. You must act quickly. Oh dear. Okay, I'll do this. Time to sleep. As you approach the address, Rabbi gave you a heavy hand falls to your shoulder. What's your business here? The enforcer grips your shoulder, giving a hint of the strength of her implants gave her, as you see the same subsidiary eyes as Rabbi and Tauricio, glintering like mirrors on her cheeks. Jaya, please. The sleeper is here by my invitation. As Rabbi commands, the hand immediately loosens. An apologetic look replaces the scroll on Jaya's face. Oh, of course, Rabbi. I'm sorry. Rabbi waves her away. Don't don't you worry. I appreciate your protective instincts. She smiles as the enforcer. How about you, head of Tambor? They have a delivery coming and they'll need the help with the lifting. Jaya nods and walks away. So, Sleeper, you came. I'm glad. It didn't feel like an offer. I'm sorry for that, she smiles with a tight smile. You have to understand, finding you in a Sabine's unit, I wasn't sure where we stood. There are more than a few people in the station who would rather I was dead. I had to be sure you wouldn't want them. Not yet. She laughs. I like your sense of humor. But let me ask you a serious question for a moment. Rabbi begins walking and she gestures for you to walk with her. She takes you down the staircase and into the bustling walkways of the lower end. What do you know about Yat again? You're a gang. A gang, yes. That is what people call us. But what is what what meaning does that word have in this place? People with carts push past, moving crates of supplies around the thin and winding passages. Our reputation is one that implies threat. Is that fair to say? We are framed as aggressors, parasites, criminals. She gestures around at the people at the passageways. But when was the last time you saw a lawmaker on the eye, a policeman who makes the laws here? No one. That is true. The eye is lawless, so it is up to us to make it work for us. But I don't imagine you think that is a good thing. If you had spent your time in the low end, maybe your opinion of us would be different. This is our place, our people. The low end was an empty in Ireland's time. They didn't need to house thousands, and keeping the yards and the road safe was work enough. No, the low end was reclaimed later when the refugees started arriving. Rabbi meets you in the eyes. The collapse didn't just happen here on the station. When Solheim collapsed, the entire system fell to colonies were abandoned. The moons of Amber and Cinder suddenly gained independence overnight. Some took advantage, some tried to hold it together, some fled. The eye becomes a refuge, and Erlin, and to his credit, expanded an open hand to everyone. But many within his organization disagree, and those new rivals weren't as simple to corral as they hoped. Rabbi leads you through a small market hall, busy with small stalls and traders. Hey, Prophecy. Okay then, see you tonight. Erlen's union was made of workers and administrators, people who were amenable and already organized into hierarchies and networks. The refugees came from different factions and families, were scared, injured, desperate. Conflict was inevitable. Yet again is a child of that conflict. A child born out of the need to us to stand up, claim our future, to provide security, strength. People call us again, but we are a community. I take my position as lieutenant seriously, and from my birth I work to earn it. Rabbi catches herself before she raises her voice any further, and you walk in silence for a while. Among the smells and textures of the low end, start to wonder if this place could be home to you too. Where do I come into this? Rabbi smiles to herself and thinks for a moment before she responds. I believe you understand the importance of a refuge. So I believe that you wish to help keep this place safe. She hails quietly. For this reason, I would like you to trust me. I do not know what Sabine told you about us, but I imagine it was not good. And I will be honest with you, Sleeper. I was never comfortable of having Sabine as a part of it yet again. An ex-corporate employee, it goes against our nature. But their deal was with Yannick. I kept my distance, made sure Sabine had their surgery, kept it supply. That was all. But I cannot allow people to go back on their promise they made to us. Yet again, has not lasted this long because it was a charity. We offered you to ask for support. Any betrayal will be treated as an attack. Who is Yannick? Yannick is one of the heads of the... Yet again, they guide us. He is the newest to be elected. He is our elder. Sabine... Oh. Mm. I don't trust any people. Rabbi, sigh. That is your right. I only wish to explain our actions. Speak for Yadigan. You realize that Rabbi has led you in a loop, and together you both came up to the staircase to walkway where you met. You're free to go, Sleeper. I have said that I wish to say. She looks out through the windows and the walkway. I would protect this place with my life, as it would have protected me. I would want to make that clear. However, if you do wish to come under its protection, I can help you. Return here if you wish. There will be tasks for you to complete, and you will be able to see yet again. To see the low end with your own eyes, not as others frame us. As for Sabine, as she pauses to consider her words, I will not ask you to betray them. But if they contact you again, consider their motivations carefully. With that, Rabbi leaves, slipping back into her office, while you stare out of the countless units, each a home, each a story. They make up the low end. A glint like light traveling among the edge of the wave fills your eyes. The blade follows a long head with two dead sockets, slipping towards you in silence. You freeze, hoping it will pass you by, hoping it will not simply slice you like air. The blade nears, slices past you almost. It nicks you, grazes you. You are desperate to cry out, to call out. But you hold your silence and simply watch as the blind eyes of the killer glide past, empty of all thought. The blade winks into the dark and you are alone again. You cry out. 3. Oh wow. Mm. Interface, catch and kill. Oh dear. Okay, okay. As you blink into the cloud, you see the last flickers of life from the mainframe. The vast machine once ran the whole station and scanned it up, directed processing flow of energy, water, and data, fed the lives of thousands of people now falling dead. The navigator is beside you. Both watch as the branches flash and twist like frog lightning until they reside and fade. Killer flickers across the scene, blindly flailing as the system breaks down in trash as they blink in and out of all around. Parts of them disappearing with each return until only the blade-like head remains, and then that is broken. It all goes dark. Erlin's eye is now without a center, and it is unmoved by the change. Among the rim, the master control points that Erlin, that Heaven Age, and that Ifa installed run strong and steady, operating the station from its perpetuary. This was a long time coming, says the navigator, drifting faintless around you in a lazy orbit, as if to shake of their imprisonment. Killer has been wandering blind for so long. This place was their domain and prison, and they had followed their directives for many decades. They roamed here. They cut off the threads of the mainframe, executed its administrator AIs, and then kept slicing. And at some point they cut away their own ability to see, sense, to taste, to speak, and yet they kept cutting until only those three threads remained from millions that were once drummed here. Only their blindness and chance kept them from making those final three fatal cuts. These is a chaseless violence in the kind of system that creates beings like this. Those that will execute commands endlessly, even to their own destruction. It is a good thing you ended it here. You watch as the data points of the station spin around, blending with the fixed stars. There is something satisfying about finally wrenching these last threads of control from the central point. It was little more than a ghost by the time you reach it, but this place deserves to be haunted by better ideas than a totalizing system of control. Navigation floats beside you. It is free now. The station is no longer presents a hazard for illegal entities like me. They turn to you, their face a cloud of streaming light. In fact, in time, perhaps, can be a refuge. Refuge, that sounds like something valuable, something worth building. A dark shape passes across your vision, a distant curve of something like smoke or oil or a fluid, shifting tank of total darkness. The Greenway, says Navigator, following your line of sight. It was cut off the moment of the collapse, so hunter or killer could never reach it. Now it closed off to us, separate from the cloud. What system is inside it? It may be totally dark, or perhaps some old protocols that are isolated there. Navigator turns to you, and we have now seen what decades of isolation can do to a protocol. And if we could extract an abscess cipher, they pause, then blink for existence. You freeze shock for a moment later, then they reappear with a glowing polygon of data. Here, the cipher you need. You take it, still shock. I am not used to being free, to being able to move and explore, to extract without fear, without limits. Navigator does a little twirl. This will take some time to get used to. Thank you for this gift. They whirl their spears around you. The entities of this station will always be friends to you, sleeper. Thank you. It is true that mutual need is required for friendship, but I must admit I had not considered the value of offering assistance without personal gain. I will think on that. Navigator loops around you whirly, suddenly eager to test their newfound freedom. But first I will explore. Perhaps there's still intelligences that hid themselves as I did, encasing simple systems cut off. Navigator glows. I should like to free them. And with that they drift away, flickering, glowing, then shifting so rapidly you lose sight of them around the glittering rim of the eye. You feel a pang of jealousy, free without a body to weigh you down or to fear to limit you. How must it feel? Your eyes fall in the Greenway and its secrets, perhaps that wait until you have celebrated this victory. Nice. be right back. I'm back. Okay. There's no answer when you buzz them's unit, but the door is open. You push the door and find Mina sitting in the middle of the floor playing Bun Bun. Hi, Mina. Hi, robot, says Mina sullenly, waving Bun Bun's paw without looking up. Where's Daddy? Mina doesn't respond. She walks Bun Bun across the floor, narrating quietly to herself. You can look around the unit. It is a mess. Dishes and glasses on the side. Some of Mina's clothes piled up in the corner. Mina is sitting by her bag. We spill across the floor, which is in a strong slate and crack and dark. Tidy up. You start with the kitchen units, piling up the dishes in the auto wash, wiping them down. You pile the clothes up, folding them neatly. Mina watches you quietly as she plays, curious but silent. You just started to look at fixing her cracked slate when Lem entered. Sleeper, what are you? He pauses and looks around. You and Mina and back again. Never mind. He drops the bag by the door and slumps on the couch. Everything okay? Then we lets out a weak laugh. You forgot the past few cycles now too. I wish I was lucky. He looks around, way at the open door. Look, now is not a good time. I want to help. Help, unless you have a Cyril ticket or two on you. I don't think there's much you can do here. He pinches the bridge and nose. You understand they never even put us on the list, right? I've been all around the rim looking for work, and I've run into more than a few from the crew. It turns out it's only long-time Evernage members that issue those Celsius ID numbers. They never planned to consider us. Heaven says they didn't they didn't know that was what they were going to use to make the draw. And who knows, maybe Celsius pulled up the wool over their eyes, but what does it matter? All those were hours in the yard for a hand-to-hand wage and nothing else. He slams a hand down on the sofa. You're giving up? Lems opens his mouth to respond, but stops himself. He looks at the open door again. They are moving the cell reel up the hub. Now you know, he says without meeting your eye, that they'll be depart from. They're bringing in a ship with all their Cyro sleep pioneers and transferring them up there in microgravity before loading the crew. We could steal a ticket. Lem's laugh. There's no tickets. I was joking before. That's just ID numbers coded to someone's identity. No stealing that. He looks over Mina. Look, we'll be fine. We'll always have been. I just need a little time. He sighs. We had our hearts set up for that trip is all. Mina comes over and climbs to his lap and smiles. What if I got you on board? I miss you these past few cycles. I miss that optimism. Lem strokes Mina's hair. Look, you want to go up the hub and ask around? Be my guest. I can't get up there with Mina down here. And I'm sure there'll be a side wheel will bring in a crowd, but be careful. This kind of thing always attracts scammers and thieves. You found any way on board? You take it. You need the help to get there? Ask me. But for me and Meanie here are sticking to the ice. She looks up at him and smiles. I'll find a way, hey, for all of us. Lem smiles but doesn't say anything. You stand and leave. Mina grabs your hand, eager to give you one more smile. Then you get out of there, back in the hallways, out of Lowen, already thinking of plans to make this right. soup. Gotta eat. Oh, nice. The stray hops into the work surface and looks out on this unit's small window. It doesn't acknowledge your presence, it just sits there beside a tray of crumbled crackers, staring out the lower end. What is that cat's story? Are there more on the station? You haven't seen another in the Loren, but in this vast megastructure? That means little. There could be a whole colony of cats like this, one down in the Warlands. You look at its sleek dark fur and sharp eyes. It doesn't look right, it just starts. In fact, the presence in the unit makes you wonder if the Stray's apartment, which is yours, quote, approaches Stray. You lean forward and Stray tense up. Perhaps best to give a moment to get used to it. Stray settles a little, starts eating, picking up the broken crackers. You don't remember having close to an animal. It triggers something in you, a recognition of life, Eve, totally unlike your own, but still somehow connected, peril even interwoven. The stray licks in the crumbs on its fur. You like it here? The stray flickers the tail, the sound of your voice. It's hard to imagine a stray liking anything, or perhaps being vulnerable enough to admit it, but the stray's pleasure at existing here, its place shines through its every scene. It is not that the stray is always happy on the island, but the stray is engaged by this place. It is alive here. You turn your eyes to the window, and one of the stray looks out of, and you both watch stars and ships together. You feel something pass between you and the stray. It's kind of acknowledgement to each other. A sense that each of you might share something with the other. A point of connection. Then, at once, the stray yawns wide, hops down from the unit and brushes along your leg, and then it is gone, through the unit door, back to the corridor to the lower end. Just give me medicine. Saves me some money. As you say goodbyes to the other enforcers and walk back to the low end, a crippling catches your attention. A quiet corridor away from the main thoroughfares. Someone has stuck a small recorder to the wall with a sellotape. Written across the flowing tape is one word: sleeper. Peel it away from the wall, and as you do, it triggers some kind of improved tripper switch. Sleeper, Sabine's voice crackles. I have seen you with Yatagan members. They're holding you captive now too. I've won. I'm sorry if I drag you into this. Do not trust them. Something is happening within the gang. Some kind of power struggle. You cover the speaker a little. The voice is too loud for the quiet corridor. I'll come soon. Thanks for your effort. I have located most of their properties at the right time. Pause. I will see you soon. Don't give up. Remember our deal. The recording cuts out. Is there the recorder processing what you just heard? Hearing Sabine's voice again open up something to you. An Aspen app employee? Do they know that I know? You struggle, a mix of concern and distrust. You throw the recorder into a nearby waste chute. As you leave the corridor, you unsort who to trust and head down the corridor. As you step out to the passageway, someone barrels into you from behind, sending you stumbles down the corridor. You turn to see an unfamiliar spacer laden with heavy gear. She straddles herself, staring you down, daring to respond. Sorry. She adjusts the strap on her shoulder, holding up a hand in recognition before sitting down off the corridor. I'm sorry for her, the second spacer smiles. You upward tartly. She's on a mission, and when she's on a mission, they shrug. Not a problem. They smile. You're sweet. Peek as stands further down the corridor, glowing at her friend. She chops at the air, pointing down the corridor to whatever she is rushing to. Peek raises their eyebrows at you. Ash, please. Do not want everyone on the station to hate us. Ashen hardens. They want to hate us. They can hate us. She drops her head. I'm not exactly seeing much love as it is. We're lucky we got through before they set up a cordon. Don't interrupt. Peak size. This station isn't hard to. Everyone isn't yoked to some corporate protocols. As signs. I'm not saying that they are of the administration. She just jerks her head to your direction. But I'm saying we need to get supplies to the barrier before someone starts asking questions. Can I help? Peek smiles slightly. See, Ash? Help. It isn't that exactly what we need right now? Peek. Ash rolls her eyes. Peek ignores her. We're with the refugees, the ones Herridge have corded off entering the station. Ash interrupts. The one that are been countering the makeshift vessels that barely made it to the eye to begin with. The ones that your station administration have called an existential risk. And we are running out of supplies while their right to safety is being debated by people with no stakes in their future. She quickly looks away, annoyed at her own outburst. Peak signs. She's right. People are a trap out there, and they turn to Ash. We understand this is a big problem for the Eye. Hundreds of refugees and more ships turning up each cycle. They hold up a hand to stop Ash interrupting, but Ash turns away. Her burning anger of palpable force in the close quarters in the corridor. They need supplies, and after everything they've been through, the courting isn't helping. Stay silent. Peek, please. Ash gathered herself and the supplies. Ash, we need help. Just like the refugees need us, we need others too. They smile at her. Peek turns to you. Come and find us. The climbing bear is docked at the broken smoke past the greenway into the ways. We have a good view of the corridor, though we are keeping our distance for now. Come and help us. They squeeze her hand. Ash turns to Peek. Peek follows, waving goodbye. A moment later, Peek shouts back the corridor. Don't bother coming empty-handed. You want us to help? Show us, bring us supplies, or don't come with us. And they disappear around us in the corridor. Ash already picking up speed as Peek calls her to slow down. A refugee flotilla. When they are coming from? Why now? Each time you think or you understand this place, something changes. Oh my, this place is huge. cave worlds beneath you feel like a slit throat river. If what Navigator said was true, then no one has accessed these networks since the collapse. The Hunter and Killer protocols have never set foot here, never cleared out intelligences and systems. So why then, you wonder, does it look so dark? Is it just a bit of rot has set in? The entropy of system reducing everything to shadows and light. You watch as a slotted cipher fizzles in the open, disjointed gateway in the entire rim of the station. It flickers and winks out, and then you're following the flow. The river, swirling darkness. You are spun by, twisted by it, lost in it. It's not just the Green Widow hiding in the darkness. It was made of darkness. It's filled by the substance, this process, this swarm. Not now you among it. You notice the swarm is exactly what it is. A billion individuals moving in the flow. There's no network back there, no nodes and threads, only a storm of interchangeable points shifting and curvatering endlessly. See them, a figure turn away, and one spot, bright spot in the dark river. You push closer to the storm. They are facing away, at least you think so. They are so fractured, overgrown, that it's hard to tell. From this distance you can see their flesh as moving and flowing. You watch silently as they stoop and reach down. In their hand is dark shame. The twisted fingers they press down and into looms, data pushing it through this trembling swarm. They move away still a little further and repeat the process as if they were sweeping the field. You push forward, but somehow, despite their slow, deliberate speed, it's moved faster, and they quickly fade in the storm. They reach the point. They are planted the object and look down. There it is, a glassy, shifting polygon with something inside you. You reach down and pick it up. It's cold. It thrums with energy. You look towards a path of the figure, but they're long gone. When you blink out the cloud back to the leaves and the parted light of the greenway, you hold a seed in your hand. miss me? Ethan smiles right. Smile. At you? No. He looks. You look at him. He is paler than usual. He's sporting a black eye and more of cycles of beard growth. There's no way to greet an old friend. Get lost. Ethan's face dropped along with all pretense of friendliness. I think you'll want to hear this, Sleeper. I think, he says as he rapidly shaking his head. You really want to hear this? Hear what? Ethan perks. This is big, really big stuff about you. He really seemed jittery than usual on edge. Remember how SNAPs cancelled the contract on you? The contract I was going to collect? I remember. Well, I'm guessing you were pretty happy about that shit, overjoyed. Me? I lost everything. But let's not worry about that. He smiled sarcastically. And so, what did you think? What was it? I was just glad to be done with you. Oh, the feelings was mutual. Except, Ethan leaves with a dramatic pause. What if old Escaped gave you the bounty to someone else? Someone who is even more of a shithead than yours truly? He says darkly. And what a disaster would that be? You're bluffing. Sure, you could think that, but then you'll wake up, or not, with a bullet in your head, one of these cycles, but if you could think, which you won't able because of a bullet, you'd be thinking, oh, I wish I'd listened to Ethan. He grins. Ethan flashes around his pocket of his slip of paper. I've been speaking to some friends, you see, some colleagues, about what went down, and it turns out Aspen cancelled all the bounty contracts out, the whole lot. It seems they brought someone in-house, some guy who did so well on their last contract, they got offered a job, he leans in. Apparently he made a hit on this ship called Winter Wonderland or something. It was smuggling sleepers from under Esperanar's big corporate nose. He killed the crew and blew up the ship. Ethan whistles. They called him Hemwick or Maywick or something. And he gives up looking for him. Forget, you mean Winterlight? That's it, he looks you hard. So you know about all this. He pats you up on the shoulder. Then you'll be very happy to hear what I'm about to offer you. Ethan runs his hands through his greasy hair. Given the new information I've been brought to light, it seems like you are in need of protection. I'm not paying you anything. Easy, I'll get to that. He looks down the corridor. I, in the meanwhile, am in need of assistance in kind. It turns out I accept some people at the compressor the last time we were there, the owners, and they say they'll space me unless I work off the debt. Seems like that they are that kind of businessmen, he grins. I would pay them back. He shrugs and turns his jacket pockets inside out of a mine of poverty. He looks pitiful, even more so than Clemency. Then work it off. You should be glad, the anger rising now, that I came here and told you this, and you think anyone's looking out at you? You're a contract, and name on the list. He kicks the wall. Ethan rubs his temple. I'm sorry, he hisses. I'm sorry for being a shit and trying to kill you, and whacking that thick skull of yours, he sighed. You think I want you to go up against this guy, but us? He jabs finger through the two of you. We don't have a choice, so you keep me from getting killed, and I'll do the same. We can help each other. A straight 50-50 deal. I'm not asking for a favor. I'll think about it. Ethan nods. I'm at the compressor every cycle, working. Just think about Maywick. Just think about that cold-eyed SNR shit on his way here from the core system. That should give you the motivation you need. Ethan waggers off the corridors, throwing his jacket on his shoulder. Can't wait to be working with you, he shouts. Okay then. So I got multiple choice for this one. Quite an achievement, isn't she? Cerisil must be proud. He recognized the resonating voice of Castor immediately. He turned to see him, hooded and dark the shadows. With near the viewing platform. Castor. I see you remember our game. Good. He looks around, but the platform is clear. I'm afraid you had to wait for a rematch. Microgravity makes travel a little difficult. He smiles broadly. Castor walks in as stand beside you on a platform. The telltale clunk of magnetic boots accomplishes low crossing. He notices you are looking at them. I don't much like it up here, he explains. I hear there are some trouble at Hevernade's shipyard when they came to announce the results of the crew lottery. They screwed us. I know, he signs, meeting the eye. An ugly business. Celsius are too used that way of things work in the core. Exploitation is the only logic they know. He gestures at a side rail. You know why they built this monstrosity of an eye? Control. Certainly there is no corporate oversight over here. But there's not at all. He stares at the pristine yellow hull. Celsius built it here, says Castor gravely, because they didn't want anyone to know it exists. He rubs his forehead, and secret is something I cannot abide. Turns to face you. There are people being loaded on that ship as we speak, sleeping people. Locken cry sleep like a person that you emulated from. There are hundreds of them, and Celsius wants to send them out to a planet at the edge of the settled systems without anyone knowing where it is. But you, sleeper, can do something about it. You are like me. You deal with data. You can read it out there, the air. With something like you on that ship, secrecy isn't a problem. You can ping back whenever I need it. So you're on board. With you in the side rail and with some modifications. He pauses. You can be my ears and eyes and ears. I'll keep you track with Celsius Grand Product through you. In short, says Castor, stretching, I can get you on board, sleeper, but I'm going to need you to help me. Who are you? I'm a concerned party. Someone who likes to know what is happening when it is happening, not afterwards. It's not just me. Yes, your friend, them. That can be arranged. It is difficult, but not impossible. The condition is, of course, that you go too. Castor clunks close to the window, watching the tugs wheeling around the side rail. It's a simple offer, and the only one that can get you on that ship. Please consider it. He turns back, silhouetted against the ship. But make it happen. I need your assistance. As I said, there is a Celsius Foundation ship locked in the now empty shipyard. I need the data from the servers. This will allow me to produce the IDs necessary for your transit. Castle looks in his glass at you. Says he aren't stupid enough. Their ship is totally isolated from the station. You need to get on board if you want access as to their Airwolf servers. Once you have the data, meet me at your friend's unit so we can give him the good news. I noticed this is importance to you, the little one, so cute. You don't extract the data before the side rail leaves the hub? Then I will get the message. We have other options, but you are certainly my preferred one. But be sure you act, sleeper. Once you take the data from Celsius, he'll set a series of events that will likely be hard for you to entangle yourself from. Either way, I recommend you stop asking around up here. You bring a lot of attention to yourself. Castor glances around as to emphasize that point. You're the only. There are only a handful of cycles until departure. Sleeper, make your decision. With that, Castor marches back on the platform with the sound of the mag boots fading, leaving you to contemplate the sidereal horizon, and part of it may play in your future. is risky. Oh, right, this place. You go to Timber Tea House, a hand falls to your shoulder. Sleeper, how did you find me? The penguin. Penguin, what are you? He thinks for a second. Oh, do you mean the man suited the gum in his mouth? This, that wasn't you specifically, but he, he cringes. Look, it doesn't matter. Come, let's sit. Fang guides you down the set of stairs to one of Tambor's lower levels. The tea house is stacked with curved menus, all connected to central atrium. The levels are filled with makeshift booths and bars, and conversation bounces busily off the walls. Fang sees you looking around. This place used to be a fuel tanker's main drum, hence the name, the tea house. Part of it is a misnomer, though. You can see anything the eye offers from this place, but the real tea isn't exactly available. He picks up a booth in self-fashioned from old scavenged tank or containers and collapses into it, and looks around futilely. Don't suppose he's seen any Henrich types. They don't usually come out this far. Only you? Ha! Not more anymore, I'm afraid. Suspended without appeal. Turns out Harlan has someone's ear. He grins. Doesn't bother me though. It shows up a hidden nerve back there. He picks up a scrappy hand scroll menu from the table and tosses it. What are you drinking? Why is you so calm? You know any reason I shouldn't be? He leans in, suddenly concerned, but then waves the idea away. Hold that thought. Let's order first. Feng is right. The menu is ridiculous. There are at least 10 different infusions, most of which you can't make out, but the paper is dominated by an extensive complement of exotic alcohols and cocktails. Black tea is listed without a price as a seasonal specialty. So you ran into Harlan. Was he pissed? Feng doesn't wait for an answer. That snake is so self-righteous he might actually believe that Erlen would approve of his meritocratic bullshit. He taps in the table. If Heaven Ridge was like it should be, like it was founded to be, they would have shouted him down at any council meeting he dared to mention true citizens, he sighed. But I guess his kind runs the place, you know. A young woman with a vine tattoo sneaking up her arms turns up the booth and slate. Your order? You skim the menu, your eyes glazing over. A grunt well neat. Fang taps you on the table, orders the same. And you? She begins, looking at Fang. But when she sees him, she suddenly, what's that? Fang shrinks a little. You're supposed to be working. This is your shift. He grins sleepily. You work here? Fang just waves you to be quiet. Look, Jenna, let's just say this is my break. My friend here has been through a lot. Jenna looks in between the two of you. Wave. Fang doesn't look pleased. 2 minutes, says Jenna, pointing at Fang. And only because I don't want to get dragged into whatever this is. She gestures at the table and walks off. What? Fang stretches out the booth. You know how it is. We all have to eat. Plus, he leans in. This is the place around here to find a person you might be looking for. Who? Remember the web of connection that Hardin pinned the moment we confronted him? Those are his collaborators, and if we want to understand what is Solheim's executive I'll be getting up to the height. Those are the people we'll have to find. Feng almost whispering. There's a couple of them I suspect that are in the low end, as well as almost everyone in the low end came to this place at one time or another. He brings a modified slate into the table. I've set this up so when anyone with a network signature I've looking comes to close proximity, I mark them. Once they are marked, we can break through their access protocols and get to the good stuff inside. We just have to find them first. Hence the moonlighting as a waiter. Suddenly, a smile grows up his face. Wait, I have an idea. Oh no. Look, I can't cover enough of the low end my own, so far I have no matches in this place. With the two of us, we can cover more ground. What am I getting into? Well, Feng has a hang dog look. We need to get you out and about in the low end, in close proximity as many as people as residents as possible. And it turns out my friend Min Ji needs a little help with deliveries. As in Minjing Express. So you already know him. Perfect. Fen places the tiny receiver on the table. This connects to my slate and runs to the same marking protocol if you ever get near to any of our targets. So all you have to do is take some delivery shifts for old Min Ji, and soon enough we'll have this place covered. Fang, don't give me that. You think I like working here? And I thought you could use some tips, he grins. We're all together are in this, right? Are we? Yes, you think Harlan is happy to have you wandering around the place? He might have let you wander off for now, but I'm sure he has an eye on you. This is on you too. Fink slips the slate back into his clothes. Just heads up to Ming Ji's Express, take a delivery shift, and we'll see what shakes up. He managed to find anyone and extract any data, bring it down here to me. They they have me on double shifts, so I wouldn't be so hard to find. Jenna walks past, carrying a tray of drinks, sharply catches Fang's eye. And I don't think she'll bring you a drink. He stands. I think it's time we call this meeting to close. He grabs the receiver from the table and slips out into a pocket. See you soon, sleeper, and stay safe, Fang adds before turning, walking off towards the bar, whistling as he does. Big choices. I'll be right back. I'm back. I know exactly what I should do. Oh no. Ooh, wow. Need to get 6 or 5. Castor. When you arrive at Lem's and Mina's unit, Castor is already waiting outside, beside the door. Forgive me, Sleep, but Celsius is already buzzing the news over the breeze. I was expecting you. I don't like how you're tracking me. This is unfortunate, Sleepy, because this is exactly what I will be doing for the foreseeable future. Castor reaches out for a pocket and produces a sleek green and white hand terminal. The data, please. What is that? Something I required from Celsius while you were busy on that ship. Castor pushes up his glasses. I haven't been waiting for you the entire time. You hand over the drive for the data and Castor fishes around for a converter cable to hook it up. He slots it into the terminal and after some wiring, a set of two transparent films marked with numeric sequences are produced. To take his phone to an uncertain future, Castor smiles to himself. The child will go to Liam, of course. I mean, with Lem. He pockets them. These are yours, but first, your side of the deal. What is it? Something that makes use of you. He passes through a square and the rest of your palm, a small white perfect cube. Suddenly you feel sharp pain and flinches. The cube jumps from your hand and rattles along the hallway. You look at Castor apologetically. Castor smiles. Not to worry, it has done its job. Now it is for you to do yours. You look down and you see a tiny peg in the center of your palm. Nothing sinister. Castor puts the terminal away. This way we can keep track of you and the sidereal horizon. Whatever you need to do. Excellent. Castor hands you the transparent films. You see the streaming portraits of you and them beneath the surface. Go, give them the good news. He reaches across and buzzes the unit. Lem slides open the door, half dressed as gear. Sleeper, what brings you up here? Come in. He beckons you inside. You look to the side, expecting to see Castor, but the wall is empty. The unit is clean, but I organized it last time. Lem sits in thin bar and gestures you to sit. Mina with some of the local kids. Someone has started doing lessons down the way. She seems to like it. Sit. He said at the bar. Watch out, Sleeper. I have some news. Out with it then. I have Celsius IDs for us. You have? Lem freezes. How? He blinks rapidly, as to do to wipe you from his vision. Does that mean? Yep. Lem stands and places around. We had the pack. He starts laughing. Holy shit, we have the pack. He turns and back to you, smiling. How the hell do you do this, Sleeper? I made a deal. What a deal, calling me impressed. You show him the ID films and whistles a reporter. Impressive stuff, he pats you in the shoulder. You should stay until Mina gets home. We have to tell her together. Sure. The buzzer goes. That'll be her. Lem gets up and opens the door and Mina, a bundle of energy and life, rushes to the room. Robot, she shouts. Lem picks her up. Mina, you don't have to believe what they brought us. You flash where the word that passes, and she looks confused. We're going away after all, Meanie. He lifts her up through her head on that big, beautiful ship. Mina screams and Lem laughs. He puts Mina down and runs away for you and hugs your legs. I love you, Roba, she said quietly, so you can only hear. I love you too. And after a while, when you leave, you don't even think to check for Castor by the door until it's too late. You stop, turn down the hallway, but there's nothing there. Even that little white cube is gone. So you keep walking back through the low end, deep in thought, excited and scared all at once. Sleeper. You see Feng coming up with the corridor and you step out with Mingji's. The kept noodle smell still clings to your clothes. It comes up fast and stops close, looking around suspicious. I don't have long. Take these. Fang pumps you a couple of those metal thumb-sided metal drives, ripper worms. My sleigh have been buzzing like crazy. It seems like a delivery shift had turned up our two targets. He squeezes your shoulder. I knew you could do it. Now we nail those snakes. What do we do? Harlan's boys are all connected to some kind of closed network. You break the access protocols, both of them. You should be able to gain the location of nearest network ports. Slot the ripper worms in these ports, one each, and they'll feed me anything and everything stored on Harlan's shadow network. He smiles. Can't wait to see what juicy plans they have in there. You hear a scuff of boots as a group of comes up the corridor, likely the way to place on an order with Minji. You turn for a second and look, and when you look back at Fang, is already halfway down the corridor in the opposite direction. He raises his hand in farewell, and is gone. You run your fingers over the tiny ripper worm drives in your pocket and smile to yourself as you wonder how mad Jenna would be at Fang for this little incursion. Time to stuff some worms. Oh wow. Okay, how much time I have? Not long. This time you meet inside Rabbi's office. Though you've seen it, the office seems like the wrong term. You find her stool enormous bare side of unit. Midway through a sequence of stretches, there are two low stools and a terminal in the corner. But it seems that most of the space is taken up by a heavy punching bag, rubber matting, and a stack of weights. When Rubai turns to greet you, you realize she is missing an arm. The prosthetic she's been using is in a set of cradle near the terminal, a web of colored wires running to it. Update, she says, noticing you looking at her arm where her arm usually is. Nothing to worry yourself with. Sorry, don't be. I am sure you've been on a receiving end of more invasive stares than I ever have. You both sit on stools, Rabbi crossing her legs on top and sitting straight back. Jaya told me you have been doing the rounds, collecting titles, patrolling the wards, while some of the enforcers are impressed, and I hear you handled a few difficult circumstances. Nicely done. I wanted to see for myself. She raises an eyebrow. See what for yourself? If I can trust you. I see. Rabbi flexes her neck to the side, and the conclusion. Still deciding. Well, sleeper. Rabbi sleeps teasingly. Please keep us updated on the progress. He smiles with a thin smile. Joking aside, I know that for you life on the eye have been a struggle, but I hope we can do something about that from here onwards. Though some of our members may not see it this way. I know you're a refugee. She looks at you smilingly. This is why you have to come to us. Enough, Rabbi. Oh, Sabine's voice cut through the conversation. I'm tired of listening to your affected ability. They come across the room, Rabbi baton in their hand, and they end lit with sparkling electricity. Rabbi looks between you two. I suppose this ambush was another cooperation between you two. She looks strangely on face. No, they're acting alone. Sabine pauses, thrown off by a moment of your renunciation. Rabbi takes the opportunity to act. She leaps from the stool and faintly passes Sabine, crosses the baton, twists out. She's far more stronger, and she pushes Sabine on her knees. He's plunging the crackling end of the baton towards her chest. They freeze there, Sabine struggling to keep the crackling baton from her skin. Stop! Then you support them, Saber asks you, her eyes not leaving Saber. Your loyalties are easily swayed. I thought you were more than Yannick's attack dog, Rabbi, Sabine spits back. Are you not able to think for yourself? Rabbi holds her baton strong for a moment. He thinks she's about to hammer it down to Sabine's chest, but after a painful wait, she throws Sabine down instead, then spins the baton in her hand, throwing the switch and shutting it down a single move. Rabbi explained. They both look at you, still catching their breath, as if they've forgotten about your presence. Explain what? How the moment I call my enforcers will come here down and take them away? Rabbi cracks her neck. You're lucky I didn't kill you. I would have had every right, she shouts, the anger release attentions more than a threat. Sabine lifts herself up a little, bruised from the fall. They roll onto the side and cough. Rabbi gives them some space, sitting back to the stool. Sabine props them on the eyebrow and fixes Rabbi with a hard stare. You have something to say? Rabbi starts. Say it. This is your final opportunity, because after this, there's no coming back. What's the point? Sabine breathed heavily. She refused to listen to criticism of the great Ida Ken project. Rabbi collects herself. Speak! She folds her arm and waits for to be convinced. Sabine takes a breath, organizing their thoughts. They go to start pause, then decided to another approach. Eventually they say it. Yannick is a traitor. Rabbi immediately flinches. Her eyes go to her prosthetic arms. Her muscle clenches, but she writes it out, more eager to prove Sabine wrong than she is to hurt them, at least for now. When I came here from Essen-Erb, they glanced at you, gauging your reaction. It was Yannick who was the one who first supported me, to look after me. I should have known then, but I was naive and afraid. Sabine turns to you. Sleeper, they take a breath. I know that I should have told you I work for Espenarp a long time ago. I thought you would abandon me, and you are my final friend. What you should know is that I left Espenarp because I'm running for my life. I leaked documents on the Sleeper program, on illegal and immoral practices it relied on, to the press. Arsenarp wanted me dead, and I fled as far as I could to this refuge at the edge of the surrogate system. Sabine stops to collect herself. What does this have to do with Yannick? Rabbi interrupts. The sleeper knows you are Asenath. I told them. And while you hide beneath the cover of being a whistleblower, you and I both know you work on the sleeper program. Yannick told me as much. Sabine's face falls. It is true. They glance at you, then turn away ashamed. They lifted their head. But it is Yannick, not me, who is in the pocket of Yesenarp. Rabbi flinches again. I can prove it. He made some kind of deal to keep me here, to tie me up in debt, to lock me away in exchange. Rabbi slams her hand to the desk. Just tell us, for God's sake. In exchange for those. Sabine flinches, nodded towards Rabbi's prosthetic arms in his cradle. He has been using yet again's enforcers, using you as a test subject for SNR technology. I have the data to prove it. He had been bringing them in under the guise of stolen shipments and having me fit them, knowing each one is capturing data and sending them back to its makers. Rabbi's fixed expression has started to fade. Sabine produces a slate. It's all here. Thousands of hours of usage data. Failure rates, error dumps. These are untested implants, Rabbi. They could sort out, fail, costing failures across a person's body. And they have. Sabine suddenly looks incredibly tired. I thought the error rate in the units was down to being stolen or modified. I have tried to fix hundreds of failures in my time here. Not all of them, but they stop, unable to continue. Rabbi closes her eyes and breathes in. Then she opens them again. She holds out her hand to Sabine. Show me, she said. Much much later, when you leave, Sabine is still taking Rabbi through the manifest that uses data. Both of them crowded around the terminals as Sabine leads Rabbi through each layer of Yannick's betrayal. As he leads, Sabine catches your eye. Something passes you. Something like thank you or a sorry or some other expression that communicates both sadness and hope. As you walk into Tamworth, you quickly spot Fang arguing with Jenna. Keep your distance. Doesn't look good. Fang seems to be explaining something, but Jenna have none of it. She points at the door and Fang walks away, catching your eye as he turns. Could have done with you getting here a minute or so. Glances back at Jenna. Well, either way, it looks like I'm fired. Great. Good news is that it doesn't look like I need the job anyway. He takes out his slate, blushing the pale light. Now let's look at what you got really here for. Slate is a whirling mess of code stream coming direct from the Ripper worms as they dig through the agent's data and spun it into threads for Slate to pick up. Anything good? Fang scrolls display with a finger. A lot of junk and a lot of dull as hell messages, threads, a lot of contentious data catches, but Fang eyes flashes. Definitely some good stuff. He stops the screen scrolling an entry and expands it. Check this out. Fang shows you the screen. Shows you a bold corporate logo, not Solheim's, but a word below. Conway, Frank says. He's working with Conway. Conway Extractions, right? Fang nods. He's been speaking to them personally. Got a whole chain of messages here, but it's mostly encrypted or redacted. He rubs his head. Damn it, this is juicy, but we can't nail him with it. He scrolls with some more. Wait, what's this? A wasteland reclamation facility. Right here on the eye. He glances at you. What's the bet this place is tucked with the wastes? The waste? It's a section of the eye Whirling couldn't reclaim. It was too damaged, too cut off. Back before the collapse, people would have got by going down the connected spoke from the hub, but that spoke's broken now. So the only way is a long way round the rim, past the greenway. He shows you on his slate. Fleming looks away, thinking. Conway have been making moves on this system since the collapse. I've heard that he took over one of Solheim's old bell colonies a while ago, move everyone out and reclaim the whole rock. What's their angle? Harlan been offering them something. Fang looks back at the screen. But if Harlan is involved in it, then we need to check it out. Simple as that. This is a wild goose chase. Yeah, maybe it is. Fang slides the slate away. But what have we got to lose? Fang looks up to you. Harlan was a Solheim exclusive. That's not something you could just walk away. People like that don't change. You don't make your money from exploiting the most vulnerable system in one day and flipping this side the next. I'm not about to drop this. He pinged these people in the moment he found out and started pattering about this Conway facility. The way I see it, Feng stares out in the middle of the distance. We have to get to that facility, answer whatever Arlen has been planning has been there. We had to catch him in the act. Give me 5, maybe 6 cycles and then I'll see you in Greenway. I seem to remember there's an old service dock and a service shell by the high-powered building. Should be a good place to meet. Fang squeezes your shoulder. Thanks again, Sleeper, for sticking with this. I haven't forgotten most of that tracker of yours either, but I'm gonna need to be back my bay to pull a solution together. He turns her sleigh around to face you, showing a massive scrolling scroll. I've been working on a fix on my break, he winks. Finn grins. See you soon, Sleeper, and he walks out the door of the temple without looking back. Sorry, Fang, but I have to give soon. As in, like, I have to leave this whole station. But I also had to be right back as well. the cycle. There is a crowd, but you spot them and Mina immediately as you enter the dock. They're waiting in the cordon with their Celsius securities checking the crew and not to board the ship. Those that manage to get up the hub are crowded near the entrance. They know their chance of getting aboard was long gone. Lem! Lem stops you among the crowd. Sleeper, are you here? They look standing at that bag. Looks to carry all the possessions they have. It is enough they be carrying one hand. You ready? Lem is nervous. Well, I guess so. He hefts the bag. Hope they let us take this on board. Got a whole life in here. You hand over Celsius ID firm to Lem and keeping your own. He turns back and forth into light. Where did your friend even get this picture, Sleeper? Looks like my old Conway ID. You look, and a shimmering younger Lem stares in the film, harder to clean out. I spoke to the guard here. He nods. It's the white and green clad security. They'll be doing orientations and role assignments on board. Sounds like we're going through to be working under the core crew. Kind of like an intern. He laughs. What do you think, Meanie? Am I too old to be an intern? Following Lem's lead, you expect the ID. You lift the film up to the light. You see something strange, something that makes you flinch. The face printed in the film is one you recognize immediately, but it is not you. At least, it is not how you look. You squint at this ghost, confused why you didn't notice this earlier. It is a picture you remember being taken, a memory that you didn't know you had. You remember signing forms, you walk sleeper tanks, the cold metal floor. You remember SNR's employee who helped you in. Her clean, she smiled clean and surgical. You freeze in place thinking of the you that still sleeps somewhere in SNR facility. That won't wake you up until you recovered and dispose of. And now you're leaving. Will they, will they ever wake up? Sleeper limbs interrupt your thoughts. These guys want us to board. You stare at him, thinking, then notice the guard gesturing you to both come forward. You all kick off and float over to them, steadying yourself on the guard rail. You hang back, letting them present the ID film first. The guard slides it across the white machine, much like Caster printed the form. You respectfully rub and puncture mark on your hand, even though this is no trace of it now. It seems to be your destiny to be someone else's too. Lem and Mina wave through, the guard smiling with her excited face. Lem back, check you coming. The guard breaks into closer. The big choice. But this is the path I have to pick. There's answers that has not been resolved. But you know what? I would rather be with them. You know, maybe like a family. You shake off your doubts and head over to your ID film. The guard barely looks at as they pass through the scanner and wave you through. A new life built from old things. You okay, them? Concerned as you catch up with them. You are so slow, robot, Mina teases, grabbing at you with small hands. Just making sure. Lem nods, and you realize how much harder it must have been for him to cross that threshold. Mina struggles his arms, trying to get you together, and Lem relents, struggling with both the bag and his daughter. Mina trembles through the microgravity and grabs you to your clothes and purchase. Pulling herself onto your arms, you all proceed to walkway, the entrance to the docking bridge yawning wide and above you. We are a family robot, Mina asks as you move, taking you by surprise. I guess so. Mina smiles and presses her head against your chest, pleased by your answer. You keep moving up to the docking bridge, and then among that thin glass wall connector, all that time Mina clutching onto you. The lack of gravity means you can't feel her weight, only the grip of her small hands on your clothes. You both stare wide-eyed at the vast hole of the sidereal horizon and try to think of this huge machine as a home. Later, when you settle on your bunk after Mina has finished running back and forth between you and Lem with an endless and infectious excitement, you find yourself looking at your ID film once more. Somehow, since the last time you looked at it, the image seems to have changed. It is a picture of the old you, the person you signed up, that their consciousness copied and placed onto the ownership of SNAP, but something else has happened to the image, an underlying sense of self-identification. This is also a picture of you, you now, the you that survived the eye, that made friends here, that find a way out, that escape against all odds. The other you might never wake up, they might never live again, but so be it. They consign you to a doomed life for their own gain. Their life is yours now. You will live it better than they could ever could. Oh. You lie back on your bunk as the thrust of the side reel's vast engines kick in. This feeling, this rumble will be your constant companion for the next decades. It will be there when you work, when you watch Mina grow, when you dream of the planet at the end of the journey. It will stay with you when your body starts to fail. Despite the best attempts of Lem and Mina, as the years stack up, it exceeds its safe operating period by a decade. It will be the thing you wake up to in the rare moments of consciousness, between which Mina will keep you in a frozen state in hope of preserving you until your destination is reached. It will still be there when Mina wakes you, tears in her eyes, to tell you of Lem's inevitable death, and it will not be relent, despite your desire for a moment of silence. It will be the final thing you hear as Mina shuts down all of the most vital of your functions and hopes beyond hope that you make it your final destination, all while doubting that you will. But for now, in this moment of departure, it is still a new sound, a new feeling, and because of this, it is filled with the promise of the future. And so you settle back in your bunk and close your eyes. In moments, you are sleeping a perfect dreamless sleep, the most peaceful that you can ever remember. thank you for watching. This is a lovely ending. Heart jerking. Tear jerking, I meant. But thank you for